Hi guys, good evening and welcome to the first webinar in 2023, and that's nothing but top 10 pharma jobs which you can look for in 2023. So those who are from final year degree, final year diploma, and obviously final year PG, this is something where you can look forward, where you can create that kind of mindset that yes, these are some of the options, these are some of the trending and most emerging job roles which you can look for to join in the industry, to join our corporate world in this year. And all those who are not from final year, you can consider this as one of those emerging opportunities. So by the time you graduate, you can consider this as the topmost priority or the topmost preference as far as your job interest is concerned. I am Sachin Kumboje and I am the founder and director for OPEX Skill Development and OPEX Startup School. As a part of OPEX, which we go on having a series of webinars at institute level as well. We'll run different training programs, skill development programs, especially for the students, so that we, along with all our industry experts, can create job ready graduates, can create industry ready graduates, and that's our motto. And that's the reason OPEX withstand with creating that opportunity, create that growth opportunity for all the students, especially for the pharma. Now, what exactly you expect from this particular webinar is number one, where I'm going through what are the different trends which are happening in the industry right now after the transition from 2020 to 2023, of course, during this post-COVID scenario. And you can imagine, like, in the next 2 years, what could be the possible changes if we consider the pharmaceutical industry, if we consider the hospital and clinical research industry. Number two, I'll be sharing you precisely what are those different top 10 emerging job roles which you can look for in 2023. And number three, at last, I'm going to share you how you can get the certificate of this particular webinar and what are the different opportunities for you for today's webinar participants, where I'll be sharing you what are our offerings, offers and discounts for all the courses which we have at OPEX. So let's get started. I'm now sharing my presentation to you. Just give me a minute. Yes. So I hope you can see these slides here, top 10 pharma jobs to look for in 2023. I'll directly jump into what are the different, recent trends in pharmaceutical industry as far as the changes, as far as the technology which is being integrated in pharmaceutical industry. Now, number one, clinical research industry, as we all know, it is booming in India like anything. Before before this COVID, like say pre-COVID era and post-COVID era. Pre-COVID era, we had different CROs and SMOs, but the kind of growth which we are looking into clinical research industry in post-COVID era, that is something which is astonishing. So by the time you graduate and enter in the industry, you can see more number of CROs, more number of SMOs, and more number of hospitals which are actually involved into clinical research trials. Obviously, why foreign companies, why other multinational companies are entering into India for this clinical trials and everything. Obviously, it is the cost factor, and that is something which we as a pharma professional, we can consider this as one of the most opportunistic sector for everyone. Now, after clinical research industry, next is API industry. We all are aware, like before COVID, we had to import as many as like 70 to 75% of our API we had to import from China. And that's the reason, because the kind of relations what we have with China, we are rather government of India, it is looking forward so that we can have maximum API units, maximum manufacturing units in India itself, so that we can manufacture our own API and also supply to the entire world. And that's the reason in the next 5 years, what you can see is number of API industries, number of API manufacturing units will be increased like anything. So that's about API industry. Number three is digital transformation. Not just in IT, not just in banking and insurance sector or automobile sector. Digital transformation is everywhere, and pharma cannot be a rare part for this transformation. Even in pharmaceutical industry, even in our healthcare industry, we can see this digital transformation. So everyone is using a digital way, is using the technology so that they can simplify their process, they can reduce the cost and the reduced timeline as far as our medicines are concerned. So it may be a medical device, it may be a diagnostic kit, it may be any kind of formulation, or it may be a vaccine. Digital transformation is everywhere. So as a student, you should really need to look into your candidature, whether you have those digital skills or not. So that's digital transformation, where companies are now integrating the technologies like AI, machine learning, big data, cloud computing, and many more. Right now, the next trend which we need to understand is number of healthcare startups are also increasing in India. So startups, in short, startups are basically innovative businesses. Say for example, 1mg. So Tata's 1mg is basically a healthcare startup. So such kind of startups will be there in India, which are transforming entire industry. Gone are those days for you as a pharma student, for you as a pharma graduate, you had only jobs in pharmaceutical industry. But today, you as a pharma professional, you can work with pharmaceutical companies, diagnostic companies, hospital, as well as these healthcare startups. There are many more graduates which I personally know, they are literally working with these healthcare startup companies which are into online pharmacy, which are into medical devices, which are into gene therapy and processes, right? So healthcare startups are basically one of the opportunity which you can look for, where you can even have your own career as one of the core team member of these startups. Now, the most important part why we are today for this particular webinar is what are those top 10 emerging job roles in pharmaceutical industry. So now I'll be sharing you those 10 different job roles which you can consider as an opportunity and prepare along with those. Now, number one is drug safety analyst. In simple words, it is not just pharmacovigilance. It is all about analyzing the drug safety, analyzing the phase 4 clinical trial. So drug safety analyst is the job role. Why? As we have seen, the clinical research industry is booming, and that's the reason this industry, these organizations, they are looking to have many more drug safety analysts, many more employees who can work into their phase 4 clinical trial. So as a pharma graduate or postgraduate, you can work in this pharmacovigilance department as a drug safety analyst, where your role is to analyze the safety and efficacy and toxicity, if at all, that particular drug molecule have in the market, right? So that's drug safety analyst. So what exactly you have to do? As I go on saying in every webinar or wherever I deliver a training, it is beyond your graduation. If I run my CRO and if I am hiring drug safety analyst, I am going to hire only those people who have the skill set, the technical skills and professional skills which you need to have as far as drug safety analyst is concerned. So make sure you as that candidate, you must have all the skill sets, technical skills, which is required for drug safety analyst. I'm not sure whether your syllabus, it includes all the part of pharmacovigilance or clinical research, but make sure along with your graduation, you must have additional certification so that you can upskill yourself for drug safety analyst. Number two, clinical research coordinator. This is one of the most important part in clinical research trial. Coordinator is someone who is coordinating with hospital, CRO, and SMO. Coordinator is someone who is coordinating between that volunteer and clinical research associate and drug safety associate. So a clinical research coordinator, he can be a BPharm or pharmacy graduate or postgraduate, provided you must have all the skill set which is required for being a clinical research coordinator. So that's number 2. Number 3 is regulatory affairs specialist. Now, what exactly this specialist means? Regulatory affairs associates are there, regulatory affairs people who are basically involved into ANDA filing or DMF filing, or they are involved into export documentation, they are involved into IPR, patents, 180 days exclusivity reports everywhere. So because many of these companies, they want to spread, they want to expand their business in multiple countries, many of the companies, many of the pharmaceutical organizations, they are looking for, to create more and more number of ANDAs, and that's the reason the kind of regulatory affairs team, what they expect to have, they need specialized person, they need a specialized employee who can take care of their filing, they can take care of the documentation. So as a BPharm or as a pharma graduate or postgraduate, you really need to see like what are my skill sets or how exactly I can contribute to that organization as far as regulatory affairs is concerned. Do I have all the knowledge? Do I have all the skill sets which are required to become a regulatory affairs specialist so that I can, have my career in these organizations? Next, number 4 is corporate QA. So corporate quality assurance is basically the integral part of any pharmaceutical company, because there are multiple job roles as far as quality assurance is concerned. We have corporate QA, we have site QA, right? Even there are some QA personnel or professionals who are involved into IP QA, that is in process quality assurance. But corporate quality assurance are the one who are basically a part of the company's corporate office. They they are continuously engaged into creating that documentation. They are continuously into review and approval process of whatever documentation they have for their entire company. So it is not just limited with simple or single plant or unit, it is for the entire company. So wherever a company they have their units, say for example, if I am a team member of Lupin's corporate QA, and Lupin, as we all know, it is spreaded across India, US, and many more countries. As a part of corporate QA personnel or as a part of corporate QA associate, I don't have to, only take care of my own unit, not just like Goa unit or not just like Indore unit. As a corporate QA personnel, I have to take care of the entire documentation part for my company, right? So that is corporate quality assurance. Pharma graduate or postgraduate, you can be a part of this job role, provided you must have those certain technical skill sets and experience as well. Next, number 5 is PPIC. Most of you may have heard this PPIC department for the first time, but PPIC is basically production planning and inventory control. So what exactly is, PPIC? As you can see the long form here. It is all about production planning and inventory control. Let's simplify this. Now, production planning is all about when a PPIC department is, continuously engaged into planning the production batches. Say, for example, if I'm working with Cipla, it is not like as a Cipla unit or as a Cipla plant, we have only one product. As a Cipla or as a Cipla unit 1, we may have some 30, 40, 50 products. As a PPIC department, I really need to see if this is the January month, January 2023, how I can plan different batches of different products in my unit. It is not like I'll be, focusing only on one product. As a PPIC department, I have to take care of all the products. I have to really schedule all the batches. Like, ये हफ्ते में कौन से batches लेने हैं, next हफ्ते कौन से batches लेने हैं, what could be the urgency of those particular products. Same time, we need to make sure like what are the capacity or what is the capacity of my unit. So accordingly, I have to make a balance that these are the products, this is my facility, and how I can map all these activities together. So that's production planning. And inventory control is, whatever material requirement I have for the entire process. ऐसा नहीं है कि I'll be only plan the batches. Say for example, मान लो January में I am planning ciprofloxacin 10 batches, ibuprofen 10 batches, paracetamol 20 batches. But I have to again make sure कि मेरे पास inventory है या नहीं है. Maybe API, maybe excipients, maybe packaging material. So I have to also ensure ki along with batch planning, I have to ensure ki whatever batches I'm taking in this month, I have a sufficient raw material in my plant. So that is the job responsibility of PPIC. So what you can do as a pharma graduate or postgraduate is immediately you have to start. Initially, you have to start with your job role as into a production. So you can join any production unit. You have to work there in production department for maybe 2 to 3 years. Meanwhile, you can have your MBA or maybe in distance mode, and then you can go ahead for applying PPIC department, because PPIC is all about management. It is all about pharmaceutical management, and that's how, if you have as low as 3 years of experience in production plus a management degree, then you are who is actually eligible for PPIC department. Then number 6 is hospital information management. It's not about just hospital management, hospital information management, because you see, like there are number of super specialty hospitals or multi-specialty hospitals. They are increasing day by day, and the kind of data which is being produced at the hospital level, it is huge. As a information technology or as a person who is managing this information data, it is very critical. It may be a data of any patient, it may be a data of IPD, OPD, it may be a data of medicines or surgical materials, or maybe employees. Anything you have to maintain, you have to manage that information. And that's the reason hospitals are recruiting n number of candidates who can take care of their information technology as well as information management. So that is one more most emerging job role which you can see for. Then number 7 is technology transfer associate. Technology transfer is basically when you scale up or scale down your process, right? Say for example, मान लो आपको बोला गया है कि we have 2 guests और आपको उनके लिए चाय बनानी है. So you have a certain process of preparing a tea for these 2 guests. मान लो next Sunday में आपको बोलता हूं that we have 10-20 guests arriving. So all these will be changing as far as उनके लिए चाय बनानी है. So the utensils will be different. The powder which you are using, that will be different. Masala or chai patti या दूध शक्कर जो भी है, it will scale up in that particular proportion. Even the energy which you will require for making that tea will be completely different. This is the same thing in technology transfer. Initially जो R&D scientist रहते हैं, जो formulation scientist रहती है, so they are basically into creating small batches. मान लो 2 किलो या 5 किलो के batches, they basically go on experimenting. लेकिन जब when they are successful into that 5 kg formula, same formula they replicate for, or basically they transform from 5 kg to 500 kg. So as a technology transfer associate, you have to really ensure ki how I can transform a 5 kg batch to 500 kg. So this is the most challenging job role which one can have, and this is where you can see highest growth opportunities as far as your career is concerned, as far as your inclination towards technology transfer is concerned. As a pharma postgraduate and graduate, you can apply for technology transfer. उसके लिए जो भी technical skills है, that is something SUPAC guidelines, SUPAC, that you really make sure कि you are having 100% expertise in SUPAC guidelines as far as pre-formulation studies, tablet manufacturing, everything. Next, number 8 is medical writing, right? So medical writing, scientific writing, these are some of the job roles which you must be aware, but medical writing is different, scientific writing is different. As a medical writer, as a postgraduate or graduate, even you can apply for medical writing. So medical writing is all about, having that scientific content. So if you are really good in content creation, not about like, content creation on digital media or social media, I'm talking about technical content, which you write in research journals or articles or papers or presentations. So that is something which is related with the content, technical content. So if you're really good in English communication, if you're really good in the terminologies which we use in, or medical terminologies, pharmaceutical terminologies, or the kind of standards or guidelines which are there for medical writing, if you're really good into that, you can become a part of medical writing team of these pharmaceutical organizations. Next, number 9 is formulation research scientist. There are many more, branded drugs jinke patents ab, they are about to expire, and that's the reason many more companies now, they are not, looking forward to have their investment in API, but बहुत सारी कंपनीज ऐसी है, दे आर नाउ इन्वेस्टिंग इनटू ANDAs, एब्रीवेटेड न्यू ड्रग एप्लीकेशन. और अगर मुझे ANDAs चाहिए, सो मेरे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में आई नीड टू हैव वेरी गुड अमाउंट ऑफ फॉर्मुलेशन साइंटिस्ट who can literally work day and night for that particular molecule so that they can have their generic version. Right. So formulation scientist, the minimum eligibility for this is again MPharm. So those who are right now in graduation, you really need to see how you can get into MPharm, and you can have your pharmaceutical, pharmaceutics or quality assurance MPharm, so that you can have opportunities in formulation research development. And last, number 10 is SAS programming. SAS programming is all about, when you understand clinical data management, or when you understand the programming which is involved into all this data management. So that is something where companies are looking forward to hire more number of SAS programmers, right? So, and in our recent webinar also, I have, simplified what exactly is SAS and how you can, continuously look into upskilling yourself as a SAS programmer. This is very critical job role where you can see there is a growth, but unless you have proper skill set, because this is something which is, you need to have a technical skill set. As like a computer engineer, you must be, good into programming, you must be good in, computer skills, and that's the, or digital skills, and that's the reason, if you have that inclination towards having digital skills, or if you have that passion towards learning something new like programming language or anything, then you can be a part of this SAS programming or this particular job role. Uske liye now we as a OPEX are looking forward to have certain courses, at least foundation level or level 1 courses for the students, so that they can at least understand what exactly is SAS, what exactly is SAP, because these are the new and emerging job roles, and we know like students are hard to find the opportunities which are into this SAS. So we'll be, updating you what would be the different programs or, courses as far as SAS is concerned, which we are into under process. So these are the top 10 job roles which you can look for in 2023. I hope like many of these job roles may be new to you, many of the job roles which we have even included in our last webinar, but this is something like where my purpose to, tell you like, anyways, whatever job roles are there in industry, the bottom line of this presentation or every presentation is, unless and until you're skilled enough, you cannot be the, prospective candidate or prospective employee of that particular organization को आज graduates की कमी नहीं है. They have, bunch of resumes or bunch of applications every day. So उनके पास applications ही नहीं है या candidates ही नहीं है, ऐसा नहीं है. They are literally screening and filtering and picking only those candidates जिनके पास skills है. So एक बात आपको ध्यान में रखनी है, for any organization, more than your marks and degree and from which university you come from, अगर मैंने आपको रिक्रूट किया है, then how will you contribute to my organization? और आपको अगर मेरे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को कंट्रीब्यूशन करना है, या अगर मुझे आपको एक अच्छा पैकेज देना है, then what we mutually expect is आपका जो skill set है that has to be expertise level. So make sure आपको जो भी job role यहाँ पे whatever 10 roles are there, or even apart from those, whatever job roles which exist in pharmaceutical industry, you really need to make sure that yes, this is something where I want to build a career. That decision making has to be there. Once you decide that मुझे क्लिनिकल रिसर्च कोऑर्डिनेटर और मुझे फार्माकोविजिलेंस में ही करियर करना है, then you have to really sure that within next 2 to 3 months how I can upskill my skills so that I can be a better candidate, or I can be my best version which I can contribute to that organization, so that I can work there, I can look ahead, so that I can grow my career, right? So whatever your financial expectations are there, which is related with your salary and package and the kind of lifestyle which is there in corporate, you have to make sure that unless you have those skill sets, unless you have that expertise, nobody is going to entertain you as a candidate. So that is my end remark as far as this webinar is concerned. But whenever we see such kind of things, we really need to see like such webinars are helping the students, and that's the reason we are receiving continuously inputs from the students that we are looking forward to have such kind of content or such kind of webinars. So ऐसा कुछ अगर आपके दिमाग में है that we need to have a webinar on this particular topic, जो भी है, you can just put on your inputs in our message box on Instagram. You can follow us on OPEX India on Instagram. You can also follow us on LinkedIn, and whatever your inputs are related with what kind of content you are looking for, please give your inputs so that we can create that kind of content. Now, as far as these certificates are concerned, you will be soon receiving an email along with the certificate link, so that you can have that particular certification. Now, one more thing which I'm sharing you here is just a minute. So as I said even earlier in last webinar, as a part of OPEX, which we have created many more online courses with the help of our industry experts. And as far as the pharmaceutical students are concerned, these are the available industry readiness certification courses, which even more than 1,000 students, they have enrolled in different courses. So be it a course on clinical research, pharmacovigilance, regulatory affairs, sales and marketing, quality assurance, tech transfer, research and development, medical writing, pharmaceutical manufacturing operations. We have a series of courses which are available with us.